I think we should try some.
I think we should
or
too.
not. I mean,
yeah, let's start with the premium. So the premium cheese is our cheese that is aged 12 to 18 months. This is one of our older cheeses. Thank you very much. And this is going to be very firm. It's going to probably have some of those crystals in it, and it's going to have complex notes of toasted nuts. I like this cheese a lot just because of the age crystals. It's one of my favorite things about cheese.
Really good.
Very good.
And that's so fun about Gouda. The youngest you can get it because we have raw milk, and then we have to keep our Goudas for at least 60 days in our aging room. But after those 60 days, it's still very mild and creamy. And then as it ages, it gets more complexer and sharper from taste. So, but Gouda is, everybody can like Gouda because you can taste it young, or you can get it a little bit more complexer. So whatever your taste buds are, you can find a Gouda in any flavor of it.
One of the cool things about this premium cheese is it does very well in competitions. We had 2 aged cheeses that placed in the top 3 at the U.S. Cheese Championship in 2019. And I think you would have traded both of those awards in for the grand champion, but it's still quite an honor to have one cheese company in the top 3.
Yeah, with 2 cheeses, and we were very honored, and we were fortunate enough that we placed 5 times in the top 3 in the last 6 years. One
That's
time
amazing.
even being 2013, we were nominated Best Cheese in the United States. And with that, my immigration lawyer applied for the Extraordinary Ability card, and we got granted. So I'm legal now.
Yay! We get to keep her.
I don't have to hide in basements anymore.
No.
So really good. But that's a huge honor, and we never thought we would make it that far. We just had an idea to start making cheese because I wanted to start my own business before I turned 30, and then to be ending up being the best cheese in the United States was very overwhelming. So
yes. So just 4 months after Marieke started making cheese is when you won your first award. Yes. We're not trying that cheese today. We tried it last time. It was the Fennec Greek. If you remember, that's the one that tastes a little bit like maple syrup. So
I go in the stores and ask for it. So
yes,
because you're all becoming Marieke Gouda ambassadors after this session. So it's your duty or kind of your responsibility now to go out there and ask for Marieke Gouda.
Yeah.
Because there's so many good Goudas out there. I just think if our Gouda is not between it, then it's just not complete.
Yeah. Michael, what do you like about the premium cheese?
Well, like all of your cheeses, I really love the quality of the buttery flavor that comes across. It's just so natural, so rich, that it really picks up from the quality of the milk. And whether it's a young or aged version, they're all spectacular. And I always love the way that the flavors come out on these cheeses. So today, I'm going to kind of keep it simple, other than the first one for the pairings. I discovered with David Gremmels, a company out in the Pacific Northwest, Girl Meets Dirt. And they do these preserves that are just fabulous. And this is a pink Bartlett. It's actually a Bartlett with pink peppercorns in it. And so I thought that would be fun to be able to go with this. And then an Effie's, Effie's is my standard for that. A pecan nut cake, the little biscuit there. And because you've been so kind in helping me get some frosty beverages from Wisconsin, I'm pairing the first 2 up with the spotted cow that I saved from the 2 bottles that you sent me. I drank the first one when it arrived, and I waited until now to be able to have this. And this is such a nice farmstead ale that it just goes perfectly with the cheese, with the Bartlett pears, with the Effies. So it's a really nice little pairing.
What a great flavor, though, those 2 gems together. And
And it's also got that little bit of fruitiness. So it kind of all blends in really well.
It is phenomenal.
Yes. You know, I still have a little bit of that 2-year Gouda that you sent me.
Oh, that stuff is beautiful.
I know, I've been savoring it, and it's
Yeah, you have to.
up now.
That was the special batch, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
so when the World Cheese Competition is going up again, so they're still planning on it, the beginning of next year, we're gonna send a wheel from that batch in, so.
Yeah, so you're one of the lucky ones that actually got to try that cheese. Otherwise, we're keeping it, you know, locked up until the competition.
Oh my God.
All right, well, it goes to say that in one of our conversations, we talked about the cheese and its age. And a lot of people ask, well, how long will the cheese last? Well,
It shouldn't.
depending on the
You
style.
eat it.
Depending on the style. So if it's a really young Gouda, you want to eat it right away, but something with some age on it, like your 2-year-old, you know, I've had that, I think, almost 6 months, I guess, since you sent it to me. No, maybe 4, something like that. And as long as it's, you know, well taken care of, I use a save vac on it. It's magnificent. And I'm able to pull it out and have a little bit of a little slice of heaven.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. If you buy our cheese from the store, the shelf life on that cheese is going to be a while. I mean, we're hoping that you eat it right away and you're buying more. But let's say you buy a piece and you're saving it for a special occasion. As long as it's in that cryovac package that you bought in the store, you can keep it in your refrigerator 6, almost even 9 months.
Even if you have it open and you will get some mold on it, it's not like bread. The mold will not go through the cheese at all. So what you do is you slice it away and you can still eat it. Because remember, we made cheese because we wanted to keep milk good. So just like we make jams to preserve the fruit, we make cheese because we cannot keep the milk so long. So it is a preservative way product, which is actually turned into a bundle of joy and happiness. So yeah, again, if there's some mold on it, scrape it away. The cheese is still good. Cheese doesn't go bad, but you shouldn't keep it that long. And with Goudas that you want to age longer, so that's how a lot of cheese makers will do. They will wash the curd longer to keep the moisture level down too. But if you keep eating young, you want a little bit more flavor and more moisture in it. So in our case, we actually haven't found the right system. We have one basic recipe and it's, I think it tastes good, but I think our cheese has a little bit more of a bite already at a younger age compared to other Goudas. So, yeah.
So what do you think would be the longest that you could age out one of your Goudas?
Depends on if you have a really, if everything went well during the making of the Gouda, because that's the thing. If you do a little bit something wrong, or you know, then those off flavors you will taste them when they're more aged. So if you have a good product, we have right now a wheel of Gouda in our aging room, made on December 1st, 2006. So that's already, yeah, that's 14 years old soon.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a teenage wheel of Gouda.
Aww.
I don't know what to do with it yet, so.
Some anniversary or something. But it's gonna be so sad when we cut into it.
Yeah, it's like the end of it. So from one side, I just want to hang it somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So the next cheese is Cranberry, and that is our seasonal cheese. So we only offer the Cranberry typically for the fourth quarter. It's kind of our holiday cheese. And this is made with just the plain Gouda and simply adding the Wisconsin cranberries to it. We use an unsweetened cranberry to make this cheese, and you can see that there's lots of different cranberry pieces, particles in that cheese. So this one's going to be, just have a little bit of a sweetness to it from that berry, even though they're unsweetened.
Yeah, so it's a very typical, well, with the Wisconsin cranberry, it's a beautiful holiday cheese. It's
Yep.
very seasonal. I would advise to even dip it in cranberry jam
Mhm.
to top it off. And yeah,
Yeah. So one of the things that I noticed with the cranberry cheese is there's a ton of different holiday recipes that you can use, like Gouda and cranberries. Well, this combines it, so you just need to use our Gouda cheese to make these recipes. But there's little appetizers that you make with puff pastries. There's cheese balls you can make with pecans, the Gouda and cranberry.
you can cut it up and throw it in a pancake batter mix, I would
Yeah,
think.
yeah, serve it with a pork tenderloin. There's just a lot of recipes. Even if you just Google it, you can find it. But we also have recipes on our website. And you can easily find those recipes just by clicking on the flavor of cheese, and then it'll bring it all up. And some of them have pretty pictures, and I always find it easier to cook when there's a picture to follow. But
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead and try it. Should we try ours?
Yes.
So,
It's very beautiful. It bleeds through sometimes too.
It's good.
what I like about this is that typically a lot of people are familiar with the white Stilton with cranberries and the Wensleydale with cranberries and all of that. And they have a tendency to be super sweet. This has the right amount of acidity and buttery flavor to it. So you get a little bit of a tanginess, you get a little bit of butter, and it really works well, wonderful with the cranberries. And I'm just putting this on the Rustic Bakery, you know, their artisan crisp. This is tart cherry, cocoa nib, and almond. So, you know, just real simple. And then, of course, it goes so well with spotted cow.
Yeah, that's a really good choice of a crisp cracker. This also pairs well with dark chocolate.
Everything.
Everything's good with chocolate.
The beauty of dark
just
chocolate is that it gives the cheese more butter flavors because of that slight bitterness. So I've actually haven't paired anything with chocolate in a while. I don't know whether or not I just become so distracted with all the spreads and all the other things to go, but I just love that, especially this time of year as we start getting cooler. Chocolate seems to be a good motivation therapy to make you a little bit more happy.
Yeah, it's very healthy. I actually had it with the Baileys the other night. Really good. Dark, sea salted chocolate. We should actually make a dark chocolate. Do you feel it coming? Gouda.
Yeah,
Pieces of dark chocolate through it.
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Never say never here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Dark chocolate and dried cherries.
Right.
Oh
cherries.
yeah, that would be fabulous.
That would be awesome. And a little bit bourbon through it.
Yeah, Door County cherries.
On it.
All
Are you
right.
ready to go? Up to the next one. Our smoked.
Smoked, yes. So our smoked Gouda, you're going to find is not going to be an overpowering smoke flavor. It is a naturally smoked item, and we use hickory smoke to make this smoked product. It is actually smoked before we put the Paracoat coating on it. So right after it comes out of the brine, it gets shipped to our smoker, which is about 15, 20 miles down the road. And it comes back to us after a couple days, correct?
Yep, we ship it on Tuesdays, gets smoked on Wednesday, and it comes back on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a natural smoke. A lot of smoked cheeses will have a liquid smoke to it, and you can recognize it by the smoking marks on a cheese, so that it's a natural smoke. But I personally think you can taste the difference too. Our smoked actually ended up being 5th at the World Cheese Competition. It's just very hard for a flavored cheese to win overall, but it was really good. So let me see what's
this cheese has actually won 19 awards. It's one of our cheeses that has won in the double digits, actually. And it's impressive because you've been making cheese for 13 years, 14 years?
Yeah,
So,
2006, yeah. 14
yeah,
years.
yeah,
With the smoked, we also have a smoked cumin that is
Yeah.
really good. So keep that in mind. You will see it on our website again at www.mariekegouda.com. But yeah, it's a very, even if you don't like smoked cheeses, I think this one you will like. It's in general very hard with flavored cheeses to find the right balance, because as the cheese is younger, the flavor will overtake a little bit. But as the cheese ages, the cheeses get a little bit sharper taste to it. So it's very hard to make sure that one doesn't overshadow the other one.
right. And then to enjoy the smoky flavor, if you're eating this with a cracker, our recommendation would be just to put it on a plain cracker, something like a water cracker, so that you can always just taste the smokiness of the cheese and the cracker doesn't take away from it. But we were talking about cherries before and that new cheese that we're going to make that I can't forget about. This one would pair really well with a dried cherry too, I think. We might have to go to Door County and do some research.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what are we opening up, Michael?
Is that the 1996 line?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we were with Basil Hayden.
Oh, yes, yes. Do we still have ours?
And
the Basil
so we
Hayden?
paired up the smoked Gouda with the rye. So I really enjoyed that. But on the last segment that I did, I got a bottle of the 10-year rye. So
Oh, wow.
that would be really fun as well. And, you know, having experienced this cheese several times, one of the best parts about this is the subtlety of the smokiness. And that, I think, is such an art, because a lot of times you get the cheeses that taste like you're in the middle of a campfire. This is reminiscent of a campfire, not the campfire itself. So that's what I love about this particular cheese, on how well you smoke it. And then a little Basil Hayden, either rye or 10-year, or go with dark rye.
Yes, we're very proud of that. Our product is very honest, very pure. Everything just back to basic. We just have cultures and there's some salt in it, and then the ingredients. So no coloring, no preservatives, very, very natural. So.
And creamy. It literally just melts in your mouth. It really does. It's just such a nice cheese. Again, not having that big flavor like those processed smoked Goudas, where, you know, they're just predominant with that flavor. This, adding this on a recipe, putting this on a burger, putting this in a turkey sandwich, and you're thinking about the holidays, this and a little leftover turkey in a wrap.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Really yummy. With an apple, it pairs very well too.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good too. Yeah, the smoke makes me think of a nice big burger.
Yeah, and a bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
And then yum, yum, yum.
It's pretty cool here. We actually had snow today. So yeah, if we're going to be doing anything outside this weekend, we're definitely going to have a campfire because we're going to need some additional heat because we're not quite ready for the winter temperatures.
Aww.
I
Well,
even told the mayor, I said, you should have put that in your community guide before you lure people in, that this is the coldest place on planet Earth.
So what is the temperature now in Holland? You were
it was
just
beautiful.
there.
I just came back. It was beautiful. Sun was shining. They don't really know snow, but it's nice to have snow, but it takes so very long.
So it's a more milder temperature year round?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we have four seasons, not like have a day of spring and a day of
Summer.
fall. Yeah, something like that. 3 months summer and 9 months.
And 10 months of winter.
well, I have to say that the Basil Hayden is warming me up, and I love the fact
Maybe
that
we need
it's
more of that.
proof, so you know, I can enjoy the entire glass, not whole glass, but the little bit here, and that just
So we were just talking, where is the Basil Hayden that we had when we did that pairing? And we think ours is gone. So we need to get some more.
We have to like get some more.
absolutely. You need to have a stock on hand of some basil, you know, just in case, because it's good for the mood as well. Helps a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
So Burning Mélange is one of our exclusive flavored Goudas. We have over 20 different flavored Goudas, and then we have 5 seasonal Goudas, the cranberry being one of them. And Burning Mélange is one of the ones that I like to say is herbaceous. And it's because it has garlic in it, it has parsley in it, and it has that stinging nettle, which I'm going to let Marieke tell you about.
So stinging nettle or burning melange, well, melange tends more of the mixture like Laurie talked about. But the burning nettle, stinging nettle is, I don't know if you remember when you were younger and you fell in this and it made you itch all the time. So a lot of people are a little bit reluctant of trying it because they're afraid that it will sting them. It will not. We cooked it. All our herbs are being cooked for about 10 minutes and then we let it stand for an hour and a half. But stinging nettle is very healthy. So it actually has this purpose to clean your blood. You might have to eat like a pound of burning nettle melange a day, but that shouldn't be an issue. I'm just kidding. But in Holland, we do make burning nettle soup. We make burning nettle tea. We put it in a lot of different things because it is very healthy. It has a lot of health benefits for you. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with burning nettle too. So what do you use? It
Actually, the one thing that sticks in my mind with the burning melange, stinging nettle, is when we went and did that event with the dairy farmers, and we went to the Frank Lloyd Wright building.
Oh yeah.
And the chef made a meal with all these different
yes.
cheesemakers cheese. And he did a stuffed chicken breast actually with the burning melange. And it was amazing, which again, that just kind of reminds me of us going into the holidays.
Yes.
But so that is definitely one thing that you could do with this cheese. Other things, I think it's a cheese board standout. I think the herbs would be really good with Italian meats on a charcuterie board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a moment, because when we were there, we have smashed potatoes too.
We did. The fenugreek was actually in the mashed potatoes.
That was really
Yeah,
good too.
but this would probably work in the mashed potatoes also.
Wouldn't it?
I would
That's
think
what
so.
I thought.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Yeah.
We grated through the smashed potatoes. Oh, those were really good.
Yeah.
So,
And I think in our cafe, we've done something with this in omelets, haven't
omelets,
we? Yeah.
have.
Mm-hmm.
And today, actually, we were looking at a show that they use our products for.
Oh, yeah.
Chef Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that cheese ball, well, you can make a cheese
Yes.
ball with everything.
Yeah.
But because of it has such an earthy flavor
Mhm.
and it has a cool appearance with all the green specks. Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's a
so
great
basically
appearance.
he made a really simple cheese ball using the shredded Gouda cheese, adding something to bind it. It was an egg to bind it, and then putting it in a ball and coating it in cornflakes and panko, Japanese panko crumbs, and then frying it in an infused butter olive oil. So we haven't tried this recipe yet, but we're going to because we think it sounds amazing. And we actually think that that would work with any one of our Goudas. So
I think
those of you experimenting at home, that's your idea for the weekend.
and now it's just a little bit of the subject though, but if you try the cheeses, because I have 5 children, and believe it or not, I have one that does not like cheese. So Dean, the middle child, it's horrible. So he cannot escape it. He will have to eat it, but at some point he will have to like it. He's not eating it really, but what he did like about the cheese was the coating, the rind around it. So
Oh my.
yeah, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
does like
interesting.
that. And I have one child that really likes the edges of the cheese. Anyway, the coating is, he chews on it, he likes it, but it's food gradable, so all is good, but it's not designed to eat it. So just so everybody knows. Yeah, it's all good. If you did eat it by accident, you will survive the
Good to
night.
know.
So yeah.
So by the way, Dean, the one that doesn't like cheese, he does love the cows. So
Oh yeah.
he is part of the whole operation.
Yes, he does. He
So,
actually helps feed the cows, and all the kids help with the calves. And then Laurie here, she's our sales director, and we got our biggest. We actually beat our record twice this year in getting the biggest order. We had one earlier this year. We had a record of our order, and we just recently beat it again. So that's pretty cool. And all the kids helped cut up cheeses because we had to cut up all those cheeses.
Yes,
And
we
it
put 'em to
feels
work.
like putting a soccer ball into a square thing. It's almost impossible to cut up so much cheese because we're really hands-on. But with a lot of hands, we were able to get it done.
So we have exciting things coming this week, our new cutting equipment. So that's going to help us become a little bit more efficient and sell even more cheese. Yeah. So Michael, what do you like about the burning Mélange?
I like the earthiness that you get from it. You know, I really think that's kind of nice. I guess a little hint of herb to it that is kind of coming out a little bit. I paired it up with a pork sausage with some French Provence herbs, so that kind of blends with it. A little bit of a rustic bakery rosemary and sea salt cracker, you know, give it a little bit of there, and green olives. So, you know, just kind of make a meal out of it. This is one of the cheeses, both this and the mustard, that allow you to really make a meal out of the cheese. This is, you know, like the old English plowman's lunch, you know, plowman's, where you were able to put all these things together. This is so conducive to, you know, adding in charcuterie, adding in olives, adding in pickles, adding all these things in, that it just works so well. And what I think is the key to this is that you don't lose the cheese with all these accompaniments. And that's the hardest part is, you know, you can add cheese to stuff, but it just, where's the cheese? You just really, everything takes over. So this happens to have enough of that flavor to be able to stand out and to be able to survive with just about what you put with it, but it can be a substantial amount of types of food, you know, instead of just being a little snack. This could be actually be a lunch or dinner. I'm pairing this up with Bell's Brewery, their Two-Hearted Ale, and the hops in this are 100% Centennial. So it's got this little bit of citrus that goes on that helps kind of cut through the charcuterie and the butter of the cheese. So you kind of really lighten everything up. So that's a direction. I got it for both cheeses having the same beer.
Thanks.
Great suggestion, even in olive. Yeah, I haven't even thought of that. That's a good one.
So the mustard Mélange is, it's the Gouda cheese with a black and a yellow mustard seed to it. And in my mind, this is one of the prettiest cheeses. See, the mustard is all the way through it. And you're just getting a hint of mustard when you try this cheese.
And the crunch.
Yeah, and the crunch of the seeds definitely enhance the experience of eating it. And this one, again, is going to be great on a cheese board, but we actually like to take our mustard cheese and dip it into mustard.
Yes.
To really give us a mustardy experience. This cheese reminds me of fall, one because of mustard, and you think about drinking dark beers, lagers, and eating mustard cheese. So one of my favorites. I didn't really know about this cheese before I started here, and then we were sampling it down in the store. And I first taught myself to sample, and it became one of my favorites for a long time.
Yeah, it's really good. And in Holland, we actually would have then a beer in the other hand, like Laurie also said. It
Yeah.
pairs very well with beer.
Yeah.
There are not many different flavors in Holland. Holland actually has kind of one basic cheese, and then it has just a couple original flavors. One being the burning nettle Mélange, and the other one would be the mustard, and then a cumin Gouda is very also called the Leikse cheese. Um, those are actually more the traditional flavors known in Holland. So, talking about Holland, I don't know if everybody knows, but where Gouda is, how Gouda got to Gouda. Just like Colby got discovered in Colby, I always assumed that Gouda, the recipe for Gouda, got discovered in Gouda, a little town in Holland close to Edam. Not sure. There's not even 1 pound of Gouda produced in the town called Gouda in Holland. I think I hear some people think already it's not Gouda, it's Gouda. Well, we even would say Goudse kaas in Holland. So a Goudse kaas is actually went to the market in Gouda. And then that's how actually Gouda got their name. It's because it was traded, it was sold on the market, on the cheese market in Gouda. Another thing that's very typical for Gouda is that it has a round wheel shape. The reason for that is transportation. In the earlier days when the cheese would get transported by a boat and it would go from one harbor to the other harbor, instead of walking down the plank, it would just roll the cheese from the boat. So and then another fun fact, in Holland, we are called cheese hats, here in Wisconsin too. But the reason why the Dutch people got called cheese hats is because in the earlier days, when they were making the cheese, it would go in a round, to get the round wheel shape, it would go in a wooden cheese mold. And then during pressing, it would get the round wheel shape. Well, when the Dutch would go to war, they would take those wooden cheese molds and they would put them on their hat. Not sure how bulletproof they were, but we have a very high survival rate apparently because there are like almost 18 million people in Holland, and Holland fits about 4 or 5 times in the state of Wisconsin. So
It's crazy.
it is, and we
Yeah.
only have 5 million here in the United States, in Wisconsin. So yeah, it's very highly populated. So yeah. So how do you like the mustard, Michael?
I was just snacking through my little tray here. I like the previous one. I really like this. I think that the mustard is very subtle, and I think that's a good thing. You know, as you don't want to be tasting something that's got a lot of mustard flavor that's going to predominate the cheese. This is again the same thing that you did before, is that having a nice balance between them. So with the charcuterie, the difference is I went with the 3 little pigs, and these are caper berries. And I think that these are so cool because they're kind of like tangy olives, you know, they're really little in that, and you can see how small they are, but they are packed with flavor. They add a nice tanginess, and they add a little bit of acidity that kind of helps bring out more of the butter on the cheese. So you get the mustard seed, you get the butter, you get a little bit of the caperberry, and then of course throw in a little charcuterie on whatever you like. And then I have some crackers. So whatever, you know, again, both of these great meals or great lunches. They just lend themselves so well to that. And then I paired this up with like the last one with the Bell's Two Hearted Ale, nice little IPA. And goes down really well and easy.
Yeah, you mentioned lunch, this being a meal cheese. This would be fabulous as a grilled cheese with a slice of tomato. Doesn't that sound like a wonderful meal?
Oh yeah.
I know, we may have to make that for lunch this
Oh.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
And bacon.
absolutely.
And bacon.
And bacon.
And bacon. Everything's better with bacon.
Well, maybe, you know, Peggy Smith believes that a recipe needs at least 3 different cheeses to it. So you could mix the bacon Gouda with the, you know, with the mustard and, you know, and then just have some aged Gouda in there. So you could, you know, do a nice little combination.
A fenugreek, completely
Yeah, cover everything.
the sweetness, the tardiness, well,
Well, that was, you know, one of the reasons I went with a pork salami with some Provence herbs in there is that you really get that, I wouldn't say quite bacon, but you get that flavor that really brings out the sweetness and the butter of the cheese. And, you know, and just like in the bacon, your bacon Gouda does that. It just brings out more of the sweetness in addition to having that smokiness. So, yeah.
and you know what all these cheeses have in common? They're all award winners.
Yes, they are. You can also find that on our website.
www.mariekegouda.com.
I have to say that I was in the audience when you swept the category of flavored Goudas, and you got number 3, number 2, and number 1. So I really enjoyed that. That was, you know, you got up there and you did your little dance on number 1. So
I kind of miss being out there.
I know, we do. We miss it a lot. And
meeting people and talking with
sounds like we
customers.
might be on delay a little bit longer before we can be out meeting with our Gouda fans. Yeah, because we just got word that the Fancy Food Show is canceled. And in the Midwest, our shows have been canceled. But, you know, we can do these types of events and still get in front of everybody, and that's super important. And they've been very successful for us, and so we appreciate any opportunity to talk to people.
Because it's fun, you know, that's one of the big thing. I never knew I would enjoy this so much as I do, because you meet such an amazing people out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember my first compliment in 2006. We started making cheese in 22 November 2006, my very first batch that I ever made. And just a couple months into it, somebody emailed me and says, every time I take a bite of your cheese, it brings a smile to my face. And I'm like, that was such a, yeah, that was so amazing to hear that. So really enjoy that.
So we got to experience something really different too with the whole pandemic, where we've been working with the Hunger Task Force in Milwaukee, and they've actually purchased some of our cheese and distributed it out to people who are in need right now. And, you know, their lives have been turned upside down from this virus, and it was really an honor. We spent the day down there handing out different food items, including our cheese, and it was really something that we would have never been able to experience without the pandemic. And again, it was great to have the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. And I forgot something very important. That one of our cheeses that we tasted today, Burning Nettle. You want to come and say hi to everybody? This is one of my daughters, my oldest one actually. She's one of her twins. She's 1 minute older than her twin sister. So, that our Burning Nettle Mélange actually made it to Hollywood. It ended up being in an episode from CSI where they found somebody who got killed, and there was paraffin and a mold and stinging nettle in the wound. And it ended up being a cheesemonger somewhere in New York that had a little grudge against somebody. But they had our Burning Nettle in that episode. So we also have one of our cheeses that made it into Gay Night, actually.
Yep.
So where actually one of the actors says, oh, this is really good cheese. So that's our cheese there.
So we have famous cheese.
We have famous cheese.
Maybe we'll get a Hollywood star.
Okay, so with the holidays coming up, so what would you suggest that you serve during the beginning or whenever your guests arrive for Thanksgiving? What cheese would you bring out?
What cheese would you eat? Oh, the young Gouda. I got And this one always liked it, the 2-year-old one. So that's a surprising one. When you were younger, you liked it, the 2-year-old one. So I like, depending on who is coming over, I like my fenugreek very much. And I like the mature 6 to 9 because it's a public pleaser. It's still creamy, but it has a little bit more of a bite to it. So that always does well.
Yep.
You, Laurie? I know which one you're going to pick.
You do? What am I going to pick?
Maybe not, but I know you like this. When I say it, you're going to say, oh, yeah, Summerfields.
Oh, I do love Summerfields. And that actually would work well for Thanksgiving because the Summerfields is the one that has the rosemary, the thyme, all the different herbs in it. It has garlic, parsley, tomato, onion. I mean, it's like your garden.
Melted over bread.
Yeah. So, and it's a really, it's so flavorful. So yeah, I would definitely have that. I always have on my cheese boards, one of the plain, and I tend to go towards the having at least the mature on there, but I love the premium and the obviously the 2-year, especially that special 2-year. So I like to have the plains because on my cheese boards, I usually do have a mustard or a preserve to dip it in, and I do think that those plain Goudas do really well, are complemented by the preserves. So
let's move on to Christmas. So as people are gathering, what are you bringing out for the Christmas before dinner?
Oh, what? Truffle, definitely truffle.
Yeah.
And then the 2-year would be the dessert.
mm-hmm.
With some nice port.
Yep.
Yeah, truffle is very unique. My first time I made truffle was because Steve Ehlers from Mary's Market requested it, and I completely screwed that up. It was horrible. I was embarrassed to take it, and I said, never, ever again, ever. They were all very nice saying it was good. I cannot believe that. It was terrible. So then another distributor, I think, she came, was that 5 years later, and says, Marieke, really, there's a really good truffle Gouda, but I know you can do it better. I said, if I'm ever gonna make that again, you're gonna come in and be there. You will be my witness. So she came and we made it ourselves, and I think it's the truffle. Yeah, I think it was a truffle. She got it from Italy. She imported the truffles for us, and it was delicious. Yeah, I like the truffle now. So. Yeah.
And then, I think your burning Mélange would be really nice on a Christmas appetizer tray. Is awesome. How about you? What's your appetizer going to look like?
Well, I think that the fenugreek would be really something that would be very typical because the cocktails that I have are more seasonal, sweeter, something like that. So having a little bit of the maple-ish flavor in there, kind of the whole, I stay away from the pumpkin spice thing, but I think that this would be a great alternative because that maple and the flavors of the cheese just really give you a really great reminiscence of the holiday to me.
I think that dark chocolate, York County cherry with bourbon infused would be a really excellent appetizer too.
Yeah.
With your
You're gonna have to name it after me, you know that, right? It's gonna have to be Michael's, because that's my life right there.
It's always so fun to do these things with you, Michael. So I hope everybody enjoys it so much.
Thank you. I have to say that the quality of the cheeses from day one has been consistent and it's been really enjoyable. Every single piece of cheese I've ever gotten from you has been exceptional, and I really appreciate the gift and the care packages that you've sent out. And I have to say that I've been a little selfish and I haven't shared that much with it, but I share you in my world, but not your cheese.
That's okay.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for all you do. And it's always fun. We have done quite some sessions and it's very nice and relaxing. I just love it. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that people get to see you guys today, and every time we get a chance to be able to do this, hear a little bit more about your cheeses, hear a little bit more about you, and I think that helps a lot for all of us that are not able to get out into any of the shows and all the things, and hopefully as this settles in and we move forward, we'll be able to see each other one-on-one in the near future. Well, again, thank you guys for coming out and playing, and it was just a fabulous time, and I really appreciate it. It was great seeing you, and we will plan something in the near future.
Sounds great.
Happy
Thank
Friday.
you.
And don't forget, you're all Marieke Gouda ambassadors, so if you can't find it, ask in the store for us. So.
That's right. And then hopefully, as it gets colder and colder, you think about coming down to Tampa. And
Oh, yes.
we'll do something fun down here.
Yes,
Sure will.
we will. We'll do it in person.
Okay, absolutely. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us at Cheese in Depth. I'm Michael Landis, and today's segment was sponsored by the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. You'll find this and many more on my YouTube channel, Michael Landis Cheese.